Wingspan, Full Court Africa, that's where we at. And this is a new innovation, I guess, because we get the chance to do our first interview. And I think no more appropriate player to bring to center stage than one of Africa's brightest stars. I mean, he's one of South Africa's brightest stars for sure. You saw him with his stint with MBB and then with Petro de Luanda last year, but haven't seen him for a little while. So I figured probably the right guy to have a conversation with. Samkelo Cele joins me. Welcome, Sam. Thank you very much for your time. But where you been? Why are you hiding?
Q, my man. Yeah, good to be here. Good to be here, man. Good to, see your new endeavor and, great to be a part of it, But yeah, no, never hiding, brother. Never hiding, just out here in Israel playing, doing my thing, doing what I do and, and that's playing basketball and living the best way I know how. So yeah, definitely not hiding. Definitely not hiding.
I mean, you've had quite the journey when you think about your basketball career. First of all, you're I call you one of our finest products because you grew up
Right,
in KZN under Coach Leta Zulu at DHS. That's where the journey really began. But I think your
right.
real journey was after the high school period, and maybe just talk us a little bit into how we get to Israel right now, just so that we can help trace your journey for some people who are seeing and hearing from you for the first time.
Yeah, right. I mean, yeah, RP, Coach Lecter, without him, I don't think any of this, would be where it is, So yeah, huge piece in my journey and huge, just, role in, becoming in love with the sport, in totality. But, yeah, no, for the most part, Israel came about, of course, my agent doing his job, and he calls me. He says, "Hey, after the summer we had, which was BAL summer, and then resting, and and then he called me up and said, hey, listen, there's an opportunity in Israel. This is what it is. Team very interested in you, loves you, would love to have you, and let's see how we can." you know, uh, see ourselves in that market and see how well we do, how well we like it, and and then from there, you never know what can happen. And I said, because I trust my guy. What I'm saying, I trust his vision for me, but also I love the fact that he knows my vision and is behind it. So we had a conversation and said, hey, let's do it. And I think it was super important just because since college, this has been like my longest I guess stint with a team, right? Like, that's gonna go on for 5 months plus, and so this is a great uh time and great place to showcase again my consistency with shooting, uh with other aspects, because again, very long season, ups, downs, the middles, what I'm saying? So you don't ever want to find yourself, losing your head and stuff like that. So it was a great challenge, and I gladly accepted. And we're here, we're thriving, we're doing good, we're doing well, and yeah, we're here.
So talk me through, and I know these are not easy questions, but
Right,
they're important, especially for people, kids watching you. You're definitely a hero and someone who's charting a pathway in terms of what African professional basketball can look like. But
right.
first, let's talk about your experience at Petro. What was that like? Especially you've been to the playoffs before, but this is a different environment. And what's it like playing for the Angolan champions as they get ready to try, or as they were getting ready to try and pick up that trophy?
Man, listen, I'll be very honest in my expression on everything and every aspect of my journey, this far. And obviously Petro was one of the I guess many stops, right, of my ongoing journey. It was great, right? In terms of the environment, right, that they have, that they've created, the work, the attention to detail, and having a Spanish coach, who is all about tactics, this, that, which really good, appreciate it, what I'm saying? And I loved every single aspect of it, the grinds and practices, getting each other better, and getting into the playoffs. it was another challenge that, again, I've been used to uh, being the focal point of teams, both sides, defensively and offensively, and again, when you go to a powerhouse like that, the sacrifices that have to be made, obviously, and I made them with um no exception, because again, I wanted to be a part of something great, and they are, and they've been doing great things, in Africa for the longest, right? So it was good. It was challenging. Again, again, having to adapt to, hey, this is your role. It's what you have to do, and try to star in that. And it was good. We came up short in the finals, but it was a great experience, man. I loved it. I enjoyed it, and it helped me grow. It helped me grow, as a player, just because, again, what is over there can't always be over here. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, having to, and I'm saying this, as professional as I can.
No, you no
You know what I'm
doubt.
saying? But
You-
yeah. But
So,
but yeah,
so
you were there. You were there front and center. You saw everything happen and transpire. So, again, it was very challenging for me to have sometimes to sit, watch, when I'm not used to sitting and watching. You know what I'm saying? And it was very hard, very painful, but again, this is a part of growing and being a part of, something bigger. Because again, they've won the BL, I have never. So again, I had to, okay, put my pride aside and, watch from the sideline, which I did a lot, but it was a great experience, man. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I'm appreciative of it. And, yeah, thank you to the whole Petro organization and Sergio, the coach.
well, I mean, I guess by all means, 2025 was actually quite challenging for you then, because
Yeah.
it was Pedro de Luanda and your stint in Spain. What do you think was
Yeah.
some of the toughest lessons that you learned? Because you're still relatively young. You still got I think you still got at least 10 years in the tank if you do it the right way.
1,000%. 1,000%. I take
But
I take care of my body. I got 10 for sure. Nah, play. Go ahead.
so
Go ahead.
so what was I mean, how would you characterize 2025 from your perspective?
Oh yeah, 2025 basketball wise, again, was a great year. And then, again, new markets, and Spain was great. I don't have anything bad to say about Spain. And again, with this ever going process of learning and becoming a better, human being overall, because obviously we are in pursuit of becoming great basketball players, but challenged a lot of my mental capabilities, because again, in the BL, and again, because I had BL was what I was kind of accustomed to, in terms of play style since college, right? A lot of one-on-one focused like schemes, and so, like, and I kind of thrive in the one-on-one defense and stuff like that. And so with Spain was an introduction to, again, breaking down, you know off-ball defending as a unit and stuff like that. So, again, it was a learning challenge or a learning curve, but it was a good one. And because, again, once, because I believe this, right, once I get a hold of that, like, team oriented defenses, you know what I'm saying? I think, because again, one on one, I can defend whoever, you know? And so once I kind of gotten used to that, team defense stuff, I think, there's no team I can't play for and no level I can't play in. So, again, it just was a great challenge to get to that aspect of, okay, you're a good defender individually, but can you be as effective when you have to move with the opposite guy? You have to move with, the guy on your strong side and stuff like that. You have to guard a Spanish pick and roll. You know what I'm saying? You got to stay as the bottom guy for 2 seconds to hold for the big to come down and then tap. You know what I'm saying? So, learn how to chase shooters, because again, you got some shooters. ACB level shooters. You got to run around, and so
And they
again,
run them
it
through screens consistently, and you've got to stay locked in.
and they backdoor, and they, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was at first it was, but then after a while, after a couple games, I got my feet, settled, and and it was great. So and again, I don't know how much I could say about this. But you know, after that stint in Spain was so great because again, once I played, I saw, oh, I can play in the ACB. You know, I could play EuroLeague, I could play Eurocup or whatever. And lo and behold, well, after I signed here, um, my agent said, "Yo, we got a call from the ACB team saying, yo, there's somebody that you gotta go replace has hurt, da 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 da." And I was like, oh, but obviously that was going to be for a short, it was going to be a short term deal. And I was like, okay, I've been doing a lot of short terms. Let's, do something constructive. And again, once we're done with this, we can always, hey, you know what I'm saying, after. And so, but again, it kind of helped, helped me realize that, okay, we can be there. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like polishing the little things to help us get there. So again, it was a great year because from Spain I went to go play for another Spanish guy in the BAL. You know what I'm saying, with Petro. So it was a great year, eye opening. And again, we learn every day. We learn with every system, every coach that we play for, and grateful for it all. It was a great year.
How do you go about making decisions about where to play? What factors into, depending on the opportunity, how you go about choosing the teams or the places that you want to go and express yourself and play some ball.
Listen, for the longest time, I always believed, the contract, the money was, the drive, the biggest driver. You know what I'm saying? That ended me up in Burundi, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, which is no, nothing against Burundi. It was fun, but again, that was another learning curve, and to say not all money is good money, right? And I always took that light until I was in the mix of, oh wow, it's really not. You know what I'm saying? And so, but what factors in that is obviously what we're trying to do. And granted, for me, like I said, I hadn't been in a long term or season that starts, excuse me, in like October, November, all the way to like May, April, you know what I'm saying, since college, and again, or having 20 games under my belt in one full calendar year, you know what I'm saying? I hadn't done that because it was stints here, stints there, because it's BAL, tournament style. And so yeah, it's just, okay, what's the situation gonna be like? What's my role gonna be like? Am I gonna be able to express myself while helping the team be, you know what I'm saying, productive? And obviously the money, we can't lie,
It's there.
but right, but again, it's not the end all be all, you know what I'm saying, situation and opportunity for the next, I guess, stint. Because again, being somewhere respectable is not only good for the now, it's also, you know what I'm saying, like, could you see yourself there long term? Will it help you position yourself better for where you ultimately want to get to? You know what I'm saying? So it's a bunch of factors, and the experience of my agent, who's been around European basketball for as long as I've been playing basketball, probably. And so I trust his word, his expertise, and he helps guide me the right way, the right direction, and his advice is always the greatest. So yeah, I think obviously the market, uh how the level of competition, of course, and yeah, just those things. And mostly, again, for me, I just rely. I let him do the job. He lets me know, hey, he does the research and this and that. And again, his word for me is bond because again, he's my guy. He gets you know paid to do that, so I trust him, and yeah, I'll go with that.
Well, I guess the next question for me really is, well, what is your goal now? You've had the chance to play a lot of basketball. You've worked hard to develop your skill set. You're
Right,
kind of in your prime now, and I think
right.
just about full prime. So, what are you trying to do this year, and where are you in 5 years from now, ideally in your mind?
Right. No, well, yeah, been blessed to play basketball at this level, and being blessed with no injuries, thank God, for health, and yeah, right now we we looking to, I'm in Israel, obviously we're looking to make a run here in the later run or later stage of the season, get in the playoffs. And once you get in the playoffs, anything is possible. You know what I'm saying? So, so yeah, look to finish that again because that's my task at hand right now to to be the best Samkelo Cele I can be, helping my team achieve, you know, whatever round we get to, even if it's the championship, because that's the goal. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, in 5 years again, man, I've been watching a lot of EuroLeague, Euro Cup. You know, I definitely see myself as one hell of a combo guard, shooting guard, helping one of the teams in the EuroLeague, man. Whether it's in the ACB, the Winners League here in Israel, or wherever where I can be a part of something bigger than myself, obviously, and you know get to be put in a position to take care of my youth, my prime, as you mentioned, and do great things. Because again, I've seen my capabilities, I know my talents, I know my hard work, and it's just again figuring a few things out to fit in and push the envelope to the highest level we possibly can.
I guess one more question then, because I don't want to take too much more of your time. When
Yeah,
do
yeah,
South African fans get the chance to see some Kelotele again, and when and where? What's the likelihood
yeah.
of seeing you in the BAL in season 6? I guess those are the two questions that I want to close out with.
100%. Listen, I've mentioned this before that BAL is always home. BAL is always home. I'm never saying no to BAL if I have the opportunity or chance to. You know what I'm saying? But right now, I finished my season in May, which is going to be close to the time where the playoffs start in the BAL. So if somebody gives us a call and it makes sense, again, we all ears, we listening, we will listen and see which one makes sense, what offer is what, and if the opportunity is good enough to, because again, I don't want to be in the BAL just because I'm in the BAL. You know what I'm saying? Like at this point, making a good run and more of an impact, in winning the thing. You know what I'm saying? So, whoever has a real chance at winning, and, it makes sense for us to, you know, get get aboard. Listen, I'm always open. The phone's always open for whoever's trying to call to make that run. And yeah, I think for season 6 again, if somebody calls for the playoffs, because I mean that's my only availability at this point. So yeah, like last year we'll do that, and but yeah, BL is always home. It'll never be a time where I say no to BAL when I have the opportunity to participate. Yeah.
I guess that answers the question clearly. So, South African fans, that tells you that we're not going to see him out here in the conference because unavailable right now, trying to chase the dream of the playoffs out there in Israel. And I'm going to wish you all the best of luck. We'll keep tracking because at least you do post the 20-point performances and the little spin cycle at the top of the key and some of the signature
Listen.
three-pointers that we're accustomed to.
Yes, sir. Again, we're not hiding. We here, and yeah, I think most of us are not hard to find, anyways. Even if we were trying to hide, So yeah, but we here trying to make this playoff push, man, and who knows? Sky's the limit.
Yeah, thank you very much for your time today. It's been wonderful catching up. I'm going to wish you all the best. And we definitely know that we're going to have a second conversation a little bit later
For
on,
sure.
but I always appreciate you freeing up the time. And this is the first one on Full Court Africa.
Yes, sir. And you see the wingspan, you can't even catch it on frame. You know what I'm saying?
You already know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, man.